You are tired. I know you are. You woke up today with that feeling that you have already done everything you could, and yet nothing has changed. You work, you strive, you try to keep the faith, but you look at your bank account and the balance does not correspond to your effort. You look in the mirror and no longer recognize that glow you once had. Perhaps you are in a job that suffocates you, in a business that has not taken off, in a marriage that has grown cold, in health that cries out for help. And the worst part, you feel that you are alone in this, that no one understands the weight you carry. I need to tell you something now, and pay close attention because this information can change the course of your life in the coming months. There is a moment in the trajectory of every person who was chosen for something greater, a moment that science, spirituality, and even history confirm. And this moment has a name: the Valley of the Turning Point. It is the lowest point of your journey, the place where you swear everything is over, but which in truth is exactly from where your sustenance, your new life, your definitive turnaround will be born. And I will show you, step by step, how to recognize this valley, why you are in it now, and most importantly, how to cross it never to return. Stay until the end because what I am going to reveal in the last part of this video is what separates those who give up from those who turn the game around. Försen sind erstis and förmärkelsen dita. Before continuing, I need to ask you a question. Answer with sincerity. It can be mentally or in the comments. How many times in the last 30 days have you thought about giving up on something important? On a project, a dream, a relationship, on yourself? If the answer is more than once, you are exactly where you need to be hearing this, and I will explain to you why. Neuroscience has already mapped what happens in the human brain when a person faces a prolonged period of frustration and uncertainty. Researchers from Stanford University published studies showing that the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and decision-making, literally decreases its activity when you are under chronic stress. In other words, the more time you spend in that state of, I don't know what to do with my life, the less capable your brain becomes of finding ways out. It is as if the operating system of your mind entered power-saving mode. You are not stupid. You have not lost your capacity. Your brain is trying to protect you, but this protection has a price. It paralyzes you. And it is exactly at this point of paralysis that most people give up. Here in Brazil, a survey by the IBGE of 2023 revealed that more than 60% of Brazilians over 35 years old report dissatisfaction with their financial life. And the most impressive datum, 82% of these people said they already had an idea, a plan, or an opportunity that could have changed their lives, but they did not go forward. They abandoned it. They gave up. Not because they were weak, not because they were incapable, but because they were in the valley and did not know it was the valley. They thought it was the end. Now I want you to record this. The valley is not the end. The valley is the exact address of your turnaround, and I will prove it to you. Försen sind erstis and förmärkelsen dita. Think with me. When you plant a seed, what happens first? It is buried, covered with earth. It stays in the dark, it stays in silence. If that seed had consciousness, it would probably think, it is over for me. But what is happening under the earth, in the place where no one sees? The root is growing, the structure is forming, the food is being absorbed, and when the plant finally breaks through the soil, it does not break through fragile. It breaks through with strength, with direction, with purpose. You are that seed now. And the valley you are living in is the earth that covers you. It seems dark, it seems suffocating. But beneath everything you are feeling, something is forming. A strength, a clarity, a resilience that you would never have developed if everything had worked out the first time. Let me tell you something that few people know. Positive psychology, a field of study led by Martin Seligman, identified a phenomenon called post-traumatic growth. It is not resilience. Resilience is returning to normal after a blow. Post-traumatic growth is something different. It is when the person comes out of the crisis better than they were before, stronger, wiser, with more clarity about what really matters. And do you know what the mandatory condition is for this to happen? The person must have passed through the valley. They must have reached the bottom. Without a bottom, there is no impulse to go up. If you are listening to this and identifying yourself, do the following. Leave a comment now writing, "I am in the valley." This is not just a comment, it is a declaration. It is you saying to the universe, to God, to your own mind, "I recognize where I am, and I am ready to leave." Versen sind ernistis and filmarkasendita. Now let us enter the part that will truly move you, because up to here I have shown you that the valley exists and that it is not your end. But now I need to show you the signs that the turnaround is near, because the valley has symptoms and the turnaround also has them. And most people ignore the signs of the turnaround because they are too busy looking at the symptoms of the valley. The first sign that the turnaround is coming is the increase in internal pressure. You begin to feel a restlessness that does not pass. It is not common anxiety. It is that feeling that something needs to change and needs to change now. As if something inside you were pushing, forcing an exit. This is not despair. This is your essence warning you that the old cycle is ending. The second sign is the distancing of people and situations. Suddenly, friendships that lasted years begin to cool. That Sunday barbecue group no longer makes sense. You feel that you no longer belong to certain environments, and that hurts. But pay attention. When a tree is going to bear new fruit, the old leaves fall first. It is not loss, it is preparation. The third sign, and this is the most powerful, is when opportunity begins to appear from where you least expect it. A random conversation that leads you to an idea. A video you watch in the middle of the night that shows you a new path. An unexpected invitation, a door that opens in a hallway you did not even know existed. This is not coincidence. This is the mechanism of the valley working. If you are feeling at least two of these three signs, your turnaround is closer than you imagine. And what I am going to tell you now is what will determine if you will take advantage of this turnaround or let it pass. There is a concept in quantum physics that connects deeply with what we are discussing. It is the principle of superposition. In a simplified way, this principle says that a particle can exist in multiple states at the same time until an observation is made. When someone observes, the particle collapses into a single state. Now translate this to your life. Now, at this exact moment, your reality exists in multiple possibilities. You can continue in the valley, you can give up, or you can turn the game around. All these possibilities coexist. What determines which of them will materialize is your observation. It is where you are looking. It is what you are focusing on. If you wake up every day and the first thing you do is look at the problems, the bills, the difficulties, you are collapsing your reality in the direction of the valley. But if you wake up and, even in the midst of chaos, you choose to look at the possibility, at the exit, at the learning, you begin to collapse reality in the direction of the turnaround. This is not empty positive thinking. This is conscious direction of energy and attention. And neuroscience confirms the ascending reticular activating system, a structure in your brainstem, functions as an attention filter. It shows you that which you decide is important. If you decide that scarcity is important, you will see scarcity in everything. If you decide that opportunity is important, your brain will begin to identify opportunities that were always there, but that you could not see. This changes everything. And it is not just theory. I will give you a real example, very Brazilian, for you to feel in your skin what I am saying. Do you know the story of Dona Leila? Dona Leila was 53 years old, lived in Contagem, Minas Gerais, and worked as a cleaner in 3 different houses. Her husband had left, her children were already grown, and she lived on an income that barely covered the rent and the electricity bill. One day she heard from an employer that the carrot cake she made was the best she had ever eaten in her life. Dona Leila heard that and gave it no importance. To her, making cake was a common thing, an everyday thing. She did not see value in it, but the seed remained planted. Months later, at the bottom of the valley, unable to pay the bills, she decided to make cakes to sell in the neighborhood. She started with 5 cakes per week. In 1 year, she was supplying 3 bakeries in the region. In 2 years, she opened her own space. Today, Dona Leila employs 4 people and has an income she never imagined having when she washed floors on her knees. Sustenance came from where she least expected it, from within herself, from a skill she thought was without value. This story repeats itself every day in Brazil. The bricklayer who discovers he can teach what he knows through YouTube. the retired teacher who starts giving private lessons online and earns more than she earned at school, the app driver who realizes he knows the city like no one else and starts offering tourist itineraries for foreigners. Sustenance is not necessarily in a new job, in a public civil service exam, or in a lottery. Often it is in a skill you already possess and that the valley will force you to see. This means that the sustenance you are looking for, that sustenance that will bankroll your new life, it may already be around you. It may be in that skill you have and never valued. It may be in that person you met last week. It may be in that neighborhood you pass through every day and never noticed, from where you least expect it. This phrase is not a metaphor. It is the mechanics of reality. If this content is making sense to you, click the like button now. It is not for vanity, it is because when you like, the algorithm understands that this video is relevant and delivers it to more people who are also in the valley and need to hear this. You may be helping someone you do not even know. Försen sind and förmärkasendita. Now I need to talk about the most difficult part of the valley, the part that almost no one addresses, the loneliness of the crossing. When you are in the valley, the world around seems to be functioning normally. Your neighbors buy a new car. Your colleague at work is promoted. Your cousin posts the dream trip on social media, and you are there, stuck, feeling that you were left behind. This comparison is the most silent poison that exists, and Brazil is one of the countries where this poison is strongest. A survey by the Oswaldo Cruz Foundation pointed out that the excessive use of social media among Brazilians over 35 years old is directly linked to the increase in cases of anxiety and feelings of inadequacy. You are not competing with other people's reality. You are competing with the edited version of their lives, and while you compare yourself, you waste the energy you should be using to leave the valley. I want to make you a proposal now. In the next 7 days, do an experiment. Every time you pick up your phone to look at others' lives, stop and ask, what can I do now, this minute, for my own life? It can be something small. Call someone who can help you. Research that idea you had. Organize a resume. Say a prayer. Meditate for 5 minutes. Walk around the block. The size of the action does not matter. The direction matters. Each micro-action in the right direction is a crack in the ground that covers the seed. It is through there that the light will enter. Försen sind and förmärkasendita. I will tell you now about a spiritual principle that is present in practically all the traditions of the world, and which is the master key to understanding the valley of the turning point. This principle says the following: before every great achievement, there is a period of desert. In the Christian tradition, Jesus spent 40 days in the desert before starting his ministry. In the Buddhist tradition, Siddhartha faced years of deprivation before enlightenment. In the African tradition, which is the root of our Brazilian culture, the Orixás passed through trials before receiving their axé, their vital force. In Brazilian indigenous culture, the young warrior needs to face isolation in the forest before being recognized by the tribe. The pattern is universal. The desert comes before the promised land. The darkness comes before the dawn. The valley comes before the peak. And do you know what is most beautiful about this? The sustenance you will receive after the valley is not the same sustenance you would have received if you had never entered it. It is greater. It is more solid. It is more yours. Because when you cross the valley, you develop a foundation that cannot be taken away. You develop self-knowledge, discernment, emotional courage, the capacity to start over. These are the true riches. And it is these internal riches that attract external riches. There is a spiritual law that works like gravity. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when the valley transforms you, when you leave the valley as a different person, more whole, more conscious, the reality around you needs to reorganize itself to correspond to who you have become. New doors open because you are now the right person to cross them. New resources appear because you now have the maturity to manage them. New people arrive because you now vibrate at a frequency that attracts them. This is not magic, it is alignment, and alignment is the most powerful force in the universe. I want to share with you something I learned studying the trajectory of people who left the valley and built extraordinary lives. There is a pattern. It does not matter if the person is religious, spiritual, or atheist. The pattern repeats itself. Before the turnaround, every person passes through a period that I call the night of the soul. It is that moment when it is not just the pocket that is empty, it is the chest. You feel an existential void, a question that does not fall silent. What is all this for? What is the meaning? And it is exactly in this question that the answer resides, because when you ask what is the meaning, you are, for the first time in a long time, seeking depth. You are leaving the surface. You are stopping living on autopilot. And when a person leaves autopilot, they begin to make conscious choices. Different choices generate different results. It is existential mathematics. In Brazil, we have a popular expression that carries enormous wisdom. God writes straight with crooked lines. Look at the depth of this. The lines are crooked. The path is confusing. The valley is real. But the destination is certain. The writing is accurate. There is an intelligence operating behind the apparent chaos. And this intelligence is conducting you even when you do not perceive it, even when it seems that everything is wrong. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology followed more than 300 people who went through severe crises, job loss, divorce, bankruptcy, serious illness. 5 years later, 67% of these people reported that their lives were significantly better than before the crisis. Not despite the crisis, but because of it. The crisis functioned as a catalyst. It destroyed what needed to be destroyed so that something new could be built. Think about this. If nothing in your life had gone wrong, would you be here now? Would you be seeking answers? Would you be open to new possibilities? Probably not. You would be comfortable. And comfort, my friend, is the greatest enemy of transformation. No one changes while being comfortable. Change is born from discomfort, and the valley is the womb of your new life. Versen sind ernstes and vormerkasenditer. Now I need to be honest with you about something, because this channel is not about making you feel good for 5 minutes and then leaving you the same. This channel is about real transformation. So I need to tell you, the valley does not end by itself. The valley ends when you make a decision, an internal, deep, irrevocable decision that the life you are living is not the life you will accept living. It is not a decision of anger. It is not of despair. It is a decision of clarity. It is that moment when something inside you says, enough. Not enough of living, but enough of living like this. Enough of surviving. I was made for something more, and I am going in the direction of that something even if I do not know yet what it is, even if I do not see the complete path, even if everyone around me says it is impossible. I will give you now 3 practical steps to initiate the crossing of the valley. And pay attention, because these steps are not theory. They are concrete actions that you can start today. The first step is the inventory of truth. Take a paper and a pen, no phone, no app, paper and pen, and write 3 columns. In the first column, write, what is holding me in the valley? List everything. Debts, toxic relationships, destructive habits, fear, pride, shame. Do not edit. Write the raw truth. In the second column, write, what resource do I have that I am not using? It can be a skill, a contact, knowledge, a physical space, time available at some time of the day. Everyone has at least one underutilized resource. In the third column, write, what is the first action I can take tomorrow morning? Not the complete plan. The first action. Only the first. When you make this inventory, you take the chaos out of your head and put it on paper. And on paper, chaos becomes information, and information is power. The second step is what I call spiritual anchoring. Regardless of your belief, you need a fixed point of connection with something greater than your problems. It can be a prayer every morning. It can be a 10-minute meditation. It can be a silent walk in a park. It can be lighting a candle and staying in contemplation. The format does not matter. What matters is consistency, every single day, without exception, because in the valley, your mind will bombard you with thoughts of defeat. And you need a sacred space where these thoughts do not enter. Spiritual anchoring is this space. It is the place where you recharge before returning to the battlefield. The third step is the surgical cut. There is something in your life now at this moment that is draining your energy and that you know you need to cut, but you are not cutting out of fear, out of convenience, or out of attachment. It can be a relationship. It can be an addiction. It can be an unnecessary expense. It can be a habit of scrolling through your phone until 2 in the morning. Identify this drain and cut it. Not tomorrow. Not on Monday. Now. Because every drop of energy you recover is fuel for the crossing. And in the valley, energy is the most precious resource that exists. If you are committed to these 3 steps, write in the comments, "I will cross." This creates a pact with yourself. And when you write, you activate a part of the brain linked to commitment. Studies from Dominican University in California showed that people who write down their commitments have a 42% greater chance of achieving them than people who only think about them. So write. Now, Versen sind ernstig und vormerkasendite. I want to close this video with something I deeply believe. And I say this looking into your eyes, even if it is through a screen. You are not in the valley by chance. You are not going through this because you did something wrong, because God forgot you, or because life is unfair to you. You are in the valley because you are being prepared. Prepared to carry something that your old self could not handle. Prepared to receive a blessing that your old self would not know how to manage. Prepared to live a life that your old self could not even imagine. The sustenance for your new life will come. And it will come from where you least expect it. Perhaps from a skill you think is banal. Perhaps from a city you never considered. Perhaps from a person you have not yet met. Perhaps from an idea that will wake you up at 3 in the morning and will not let you sleep. But it will only arrive if you are still standing, if you have not given up, if you have crossed the valley instead of having lain down in it. Brazil is a country of valleys, of crises, of restarts, of people who fall and rise. Our entire history is made of people who had nothing and built everything, of grandparents who crossed the ocean with a suitcase and a hope, of mothers who raised children alone and yet formed doctors, of fathers who worked their whole lives under the sun and yet never let food be lacking on the table. This blood runs in your veins. This strength is your heritage. Use it. I am going to ask you one last thing. If this video touched you, if any word I said here lit something inside you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Not for me, for you. Because every time a new video comes out, it will be a reminder that you are not alone in this walk. It will be one more tool for your crossing. It will be one more voice telling you, continue. Do not stop. Your turnaround is coming. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. Try to visualize you are in a different place. Not necessarily a mansion or an imported car, but a place of peace. A place where you wake up without that knot in your stomach. Where you look in the mirror and recognize the person who looks back at you. Where the money arrives, not because you are killing yourself, but because you are aligned. Where your relationships are healthy because you learned in the valley not to accept less than you deserve. Where your health improved, because in the valley you understood that without a body there is no journey. This image is not fantasy. It is the project of your next phase. And projects become reality when they have a foundation. The valley is the foundation. Every pain you felt, every poorly slept night, every swallowed tear, every no you heard, all of this is construction material. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was in vain. Every second you lived in the valley is being converted into structure for the life that is to come. I know people who left the valley and today earn 6 figures a month. I know people who left the valley and found the love of their life after 50 years. I know people who left the valley and cured diseases that doctors said were irreversible. I am not promising easy miracles. I am telling you that life is more surprising than your current pain allows you to see, and that the sustenance for your new life is already on the way. It has already been dispatched. It is already in transit. Your only task is not to leave the address. It is to continue. It is to cross. There is a phrase that I carry with me, and that I want to leave engraved in you. The person you will be in the future needs the person you are now not to give up. Read that phrase again. The person you will be in the future needs the person you are now to hold on a little longer. Do not give up in the chapter that will give meaning to all the others. And for those who need to hear this one more time, from where you least expect it will come the sustenance for your new life. Believe in it. Act upon it. Cross the valley. I will meet you in the next video. And when your turnaround arrives, come back here in the comments and tell me. I will be waiting.